What's going on, YouTube? It's Knox Hill, and we're back with our reaction series. So today, man, this is the greatest day on planet Earth, aka Metal Mondays. I am really enjoying this metal journey, the depth, the lyricism. I never know what to expect next. We got another brand new one. First time reaction, first time hearing. It's none other than Iron Maiden, and this is The Trooper. One. Oh. Yes. Wait a second. The Trooper? That cover right there. I've had that beer before. All right, my wife is British. For those of you who don't know, I spent a lot of time drinking British ales, and I've definitely had the Trooper before. That is just delicious violence right there. And I love how we start off. Like, there's no builds. There's no starting off simple and then introduction of elements. No, we just start racing and getting the adrenaline pumping right away as we come in with this frantic guitar. Let's see where we run with this. Nice.
You fire musket, but I'll run you through. So when you're waiting for the next attack, you better stand, there's no turning back.
You fire your musket, but I'll run you through? Hang on, is that actually what he said?
You fire musket, but I'll run you through.
Okay, what in the Revolutionary War is happening right now? I mean, we are going back to the days of musket and warfare and what? I was not ready for this.
So when you're waiting for the next attack, you better stand, there's no turning back. The bugle sounds, the charge begins. But on this battle,
the bugle sounds, the charge begins? What?
The bugle sounds, the charge begins.
Okay.
But on this battlefield, no one wins.
Beyond this battlefield, no one wins. Oh, I like that line. That goes deeper right there because, you know, I mean, war is awful. You know, war is not romantic. It's not poetic. It's not beautiful. It is horrendous. It is awful travesties that affect our population, affect societies, rip apart countries, rip apart families. So ultimately, yeah, no one wins. Doesn't matter if you do have a winner at the end of the day on the battlefield. Nobody really wins. It's not a win for humanity.
But on this battlefield, no one wins.
The smell of acrid smoke and horse's breath. I'm telling you, man, it's like I'm reading a book sometimes when I dive into metal and some of the word choice and the lyricism. I really love it. It's just some, very good descriptors and storytelling ability and narration and the way that we set up scenes and pictures.
No one wins. The smell of acrid smoke and horse's breath.
You know what that frantic drum now and the pacing makes me think of? It is like the bugle sounds and we're sounding the horns and then we're charging, aren't we? We're plunging our way through the gunfire into certain death. And I feel like the pacing of the instrumentation and the way the drums hit is like the marching drums of war, or even like galloping horses almost, you know? Definitely meant to feel that way. Yes, this guitar.
The horses with the ferry bring to run. The manual of the Russian guns. And as we reach
The Russian guns? Oh, we're getting a lot more specific now. And by the way, like the OOOs, I was waiting for a hook, but I guess that was our hook, wasn't it? So simple. Oh, but it's almost like yelling like, oh, as you're kind of charging in a battle. And then like the way that he sung that and just the scale and the range of the O's. I can see how that gets catchy pretty quickly. We'll see if it comes back around on the second hook. But wow, I was not ready for this, but I guess I should be because the title of the track is Trooper. So hence describing a battle actually happening. And now we have an adversary. We're marching against the Russians here. Russians fire the bodies and the human wall. I mean, again, like we're not painting, we're not walking around a PG picture here, are we? You know, this is just raw, giving you the feeling of war, the acrid smoke, the horse's breath in your ears, the bodies piling, the scale of the violence, everything happening, the chaos around you. I love the way this is setting up. Yeah, we get so near, but so far away. Definitely feels like, you know, just getting like cut down by a machine gun. But wait, are we doing machine guns? Because we're back in the days of, you know, like muskets and bayonets, right? So like charging, and we're trying to get to the other side. We're trying to get to the other trench. I mean, this could be World War. Could be anything. I mean, what? The French marching on Russia, Napoleon times? They still fought with bayonets in World War I, but not the muskets. It's more revolutionary days. What other wars we got with Russia involved? Big wars. I don't know. This is like the inner historian and history lover in me. We'll see where we go with this. Guitar solo time. What is that? Wow. Nice. Wow. That was a nice guitar solo. One thing I've learned, do not pause in the middle of guitar or drum solos. I've learned that. Oh, you hear that bass back there too. As I lay there gazing at the sky, my body's numb, my throat is dry, his horse has been taken out, he's been shot, hit by the Russian bullet. Wow. Wow, I mean, again, tragic. As I lay forgotten and alone, without a tear I draw my parting groan. I think the poetry in that, but also our narrator, our speaker, is literally dying. And I love kind of the representation of, you know, this could be any war, any battlefield, and this could be the thoughts of any soldier who's been commanded to go off and fight, to go off to war, and then they die and lose their life dying alone on a battlefield, even though they're surrounded by bodies and chaos and people fighting. You know, in that moment, nothing else matters because they're passing from this earth. You know, they're being separated from their bodies. And just to think about death in that way and war in that way. And yeah, this is definitely not a glorification of it, is it? I was thinking, I didn't want to interrupt this, but I'm going on a line of thought here. Because I was started thinking about the beer, right? And the beer's got the British flag. And then where is it? Yeah, we did have that, didn't we? So you've got the flag of Great Britain behind them. British didn't fight Russia in World War I, obviously. They didn't fight him in World War II either. Same sides. And again, we're getting too modern with technology here. The musket days. So it's got to be the Crimean War, right? Crimean War, however you pronounce that. Russia versus France, what would become Italy, the Ottoman Empire, and Great Britain. Got to be that one, right? And what is the poem? The Charge of the Light Brigade by Tennyson. Tennyson's famous poem. Even I had to study this in school. And it's basically, how does the story go? Of the famous sort of, the charge of the brigade and the cavalry into a Russian battery. And the thing was, at the time, I think the Russians broke the Ottoman line. And the British didn't want the Russians to have time to collect all the Ottoman weapons and ammunition and everything. So they sent the cavalry in. But the problem was there was a miscommunication of orders. So they couldn't go to, they didn't end up going to where that line was. They went to a different area that was a lot more well-entrenched, well-defended, and it was basically a bloodbath. And it was just a tragedy. But Alfred Tennyson wrote a poem about it. And that poem was published everywhere and was used kind of in a poetic way to glorify the war, to celebrate troops, following their commands into certain death, no matter what, doing it for love of country, love of the empire. And it was used in a very patriotic way. So this feels like part 2 to that, doesn't it? It feels like taking that essence and that being, and instead of looking at it from a poetic perspective, you look at it from the more tragic perspective that it actually is. And if I remember Tennyson's poem correctly, that took more of like a widescape, landscape view of it all. It wasn't like a narrowed in view. You didn't really get the thoughts and emotions of the soldiers at the time. It was more like bird's eye from a distance. So this case and this writing puts you right there in the heart of it, in the minds, in the fears, and the emotions of the soldiers themselves, as they charge fruitlessly off to their deaths, essentially. Definitely got to be those connections. Because if he didn't say Russian, it could be anything. We could go anywhere. And then the other clues are definitely the nature of the ammunition, the munitions used, the bayonets, the way things are set up, and the English-British connection. It's got to be. It's got to be. Right? I mean, I love studying wars. I love studying history. I love poetry, so I think so. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I feel pretty good about this one. That's cool. This is wild. How are we here? How am I doing a fucking metal reaction and we're sat talking about history and warfare now in poetry? How the fuck does that happen? I'm not mad. Wait, now I gotta jump to where I was because I totally lost my spot. Definitely catching on to me, those O's now. Wow. What a pumping adrenaline rush of a ride. Talk about setting the atmosphere. I think the instrumentation does it well for what the storytelling is and the lyricism. And why am I surprised on these Metal Mondays? Like the twists and turns that we go on. I enjoy that. Iron Maiden, you are Knox Hill certified. Hope you guys liked today's video. Listen here at the end. Obviously enjoying the content. Do me a huge favor, guys. Support channel directly. Subscribe and notifications on. It really does go a long way. I love you. Stay safe. Stay positive. I will catch you again very soon. I'm out.